like a. Four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, absolutely. Testing, 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 testing. Da 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 da. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A B C. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Testing, 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 testing. 1, 2, 3. A B C. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? Hello, can you hear me now? Is that what's going on? Hello? Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Testing, testing. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Testing, testing. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Good? Da, 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 da. Yeah, the feedback is really bad. Is that better? Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, ABC. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So, a little transgender birdie told me that it's go time. Everyone, you are beyond patient. Thank you so much for bearing with us this morning. There were some delays, there was some inclement weather, there were a lot of fathers around the country, and it is truly an honor to see all of you here at the heart of our country, Washington, D.C. And thank you all so much for being here. I know there's so many people here physically and then also virtually who are streaming right now, and likewise, thank you all virtually from afar for your patience. It has been, it's been a minute over here, and it is something that I and the team here are super excited to host and to contribute to some small degree for our community out there. So thank you all so much. This is all for you. I wanted to start today by having some thank yous because this is something that we couldn't do alone, and I wanted to share my gratitude. So some of you may be watching, and if not, I'll be sure to send against the disproportionate levels of gun violence towards the queer community. Thank you so much. DC Peace Team, for being here to watch over our wonderful crowd. Please, let's give them a huge round of applause. A League of Her Own, one of America's few remaining true lesbian bars. Thank you for sharing a safe space today later, which, by the way, if you are still in DC after the event today and you want to say hi to the team, there will be a 4 to 7 p.m. surprise after party, post-rally, and that will be at Aloho, 4 to 7 p.m. tonight. If you weren't able to make it here today in person, you are still more than welcome to join us there later today. To the wonderful writers at the Washington Blade for your coverage of our DC rally, both in March and sharing for our return this time around. Thank you so much for your coverage and your reporting. This is more personal, and I probably do have to say it. Eric, thank you so much. I love you. I know that when we were setting this up, we had members of the media reach out to us to talk about, hey, what is your event? Talk about what you're going to be doing in DC this time around. And for the media covering the ongoing needs of the transgender community, I did want to say thank you for the coverage, despite it being limited in America right now. And I say limited because in my total acting capacity for Trans Unity Coalition, and for those of you who may not know me, my name is Bree. I am not identifying as but blessed by she, her pronouns, and I am the founder and executive director of our nonprofit here. In my acting capacity as executive director, I have noted that there typically seems to be widespread coverage of our issues, often far too late. It tends to be after the fact, when legislation passes, when the damage has already been done, and this is just an observation of mine where it seems to be more to cover the harm, but not necessarily to warn in advance to aid. And in a month such as Pride, I feel that these issues are often sensationalized, but also capitalized upon. We here probably know the term rainbow capitalism. Yes, I'm seeing a lot of virtual crowd, I'm seeing a lot of head nods. And I do know that whether it be here today with the media or from afar, we do have some reporters with eyes on this. And I'm unfortunately not 100% confident that this will also be covered in its truest of glory. And I say that because when I've been asked about the event by the press, I commonly get asked, like, hey, what is your protest going to look like? And what are you going to be saying about Trump? And what do you want him to know? And I have to keep telling these people that this isn't a protest. This is a fucking rally. This is our rally. This is about us, not him. For those of you joining in, and for those of you who think this is in backlash, I want to say that we gather for ourselves, not for anyone else. That being said, I did want to address an elephant in the room, and I wanted to try a little experiment here to see which outlets are actually listening to this. And this is something that I want to make sure this is also in the live stream too. And I wanted to wake up some people here and get people a little bit out of their comfort zones. And to that end, I wanted to say that swearing is caring. We are no strangers to the First Amendment, and that if you are here and want to be cautiously polite and reserve those cuss words for another time, then I would say you may be rallying wrong. So check this out. We got 4 words, and I'm going to say them one at a time, and I want to have some people here. I want all of you, actually. I think we can do everyone. This is 100%able here. I want to hear the words repeated. So 4 words. We're going to do one at a time, okay? Affirmation? Yes? Great. Shut. Okay, cool. The. And remember, swearing is caring. Fuck. Last one. Up. Great. Hey Amber, is that great? This is amazing. So I heard the words. I would love to hear the energy. So I think we can do that all at once. Can I hear a shut the fuck up? Shut the fuck up! How about a second time? Shut the fuck up! Okay. This all serves something, I swear. Because people are always going to try to frame our day and our month and our presence as this. We are second to that. We need to remind people that we aren't here for this, we're here for us. But again, doing a little test here. So I want to see that we all also kind of have a similar understanding as to this here. But so those four words, this is something that I feel resonates with when people ask, hey, so how do you frame yourself second to this? And I feel that there's a lot of energy in there because this person has done so much damage, not only our own community, so many others, and it's always some bullshit. It's always something stupid. It's something that every time you turn the news on and you hear those lips say those words or whatever, you just want to say, shut the fuck up. You want to say, shut the fuck up. And so this will be a little crowd engagement that I would love to see all of you really awaken, really be here. This is the day that you're in DC. Please let that all out. So when the president says, transgender only came to be a few years ago, what do we say? When the president calls our existence left-wing lunacy, what do we say? When he refers to our younger siblings as child mutilation, what do we say? When he focuses on biological truth, despite not understanding basic concepts of biology, what do we say? When this guy applauds a bogus report politically forced through the HHS to cause irreparable damage to our community, what do we say? When he says that our trans service members are not fit to serve our country, what do we say? This one, oh. When he confuses transgenic cancer models for turning the mice transgender, what do we say? And when the media frames our moment, our time, our here, right now, our day, in solidarity, as about this guy, what do we say? Thank you. Allergic to that. This is our month. This is Pride Month. This will always be our month. They can never take pride away from us. Yes. Say that again. Yes. And I think we all know that yesterday, a couple things really, actually. There was a big tragedy in Minnesota. I do want to kind of pull back for a second and say that deserves a moment of silence. Thinking about them, rooting them on. It's very sad, very tragic, and it's very absolute insanity. But also, happy birthday, I guess. Guess what? That's probably the most expensive present ever. And another fun fact, I'm not making this up. Yesterday was also my birthday. I turned 32. I'm a 1993 baby, and repping the 90s. I say this for an actual reason, but I'm actually going to take all of your advice and shut the fuck up for a second, because we have so many stories and other voices to share here, and I am honored to hear each and every one. And first up, we have one of our own team members at Trans Unity Coalition, Ellie. Please, let's give her a warm round of applause.
Hello, hello. All right. So first of all, let me just say thank you to everybody who's here in person, despite the bad weather, and to everybody else joining us from home via the live stream. Oh, thank you so much. Are you trying to raise it? No, I got it. It's fine. My name is Amelia Elise Sage Green. I'm 27 years old, neurodivergent, non-binary, and a trans woman from Ohio who's here today along with my wonderful and amazing wife, Amber. And thanks to the financial support of my parents, who are two of the best allies a girl could ever ask to have in her corner. Since I came out and started my transition in April of last year, I've been welcomed into my local queer communities with open arms and have learned to love life in a way I never before thought possible. I've been shown the value I held as a person, that my life was indeed worth living, and that I can do damn well anything I put my mind to. I've been a volunteer with Tuck since January of this year, and along with my wife and a good friend of ours, have been running our own local trans organization since last October. In that time, I've hosted local trans meetups, organized rallies, lobbied to members of our government, and testified in front of the Ohio Senate in opposition to multiple pieces of anti-trans legislation. If you had told me a year ago that this is what I would be doing right now, I would have said that you were full of shit. But here we are. All of this has only been possible because of the support I've received from those around me. Through the support we provide to one another, we are strong enough to move mountains. We stand here at our nation's capital today in defiance of the Trump regime's attempt to erase us and to silence anybody who stands against them. Despite what they seem to think, the LGBT+ community cannot be erased by signing bigotry into law. In the past 100 years, we have prevailed despite the Nazis destroying our scientific literature, fought back against government-sponsored persecution, and survived the AIDS epidemic. We are tenacious, and we will not be erased by a spray-tanned, pedophilic weirdo and his gang of incompetent cronies. Today marks 5 years since Bostock versus Clayton County, and despite what our government might want us to think, that will not be our last for our rights. Rest of Pride Month, but for every day of the rest of our lives. Thank you.
Ellie, thank you so much for going. Please, another round of applause. Next up, and I wanted to make sure that he was here. Do we have Emmett McFather here? Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Oh, there's so many people traveled. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
What's up, guys? Oh, I'm short. Just your average 5'4" trans man. Thank you. Okay. Find this speech. This was partially written on a plane. Okay, so as previously introduced, everyone, my name is Emmett. It's nice to see you all here today, despite the weather. I am a trans man from Houston, Texas. I started my transition back in 2015 and have basically been locked in on this wild ride ever since. Tossed around a few ideas in my head over what to talk about today. Previously at a Trans Unity Coalition rally in Austin, I spoke about unity and what it means to support our community at this time. That's a good topic, something that draws us closer. I considered speaking on that same topic today, but ultimately I decided against it. While we should absolutely be supporting our community, I think there's something else I'd rather speak on. I'd rather tell you a story, a personal one about the hope in my heart being rekindled. The determining factor for the subject change was actually a reevaluation of my mental health now compared to March. Show of hands, how many of you here are tired? That's what I thought, yeah. I'm exhausted. Every day since January 20th, 2025, I've been checking translegislation.com. I've scoured hundreds of anti-trans bills proposed across the nation. I've personally read each one that has passed and kept tabs on which states I am least safe in. In March, I still felt relatively strong. I felt resilient. Today, I'm not gonna lie though, it has been difficult. With all 114 bills that have passed as of today, I feel like I'm still marching on, just a little bit slower. I have no plans on stopping, but goddamn, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worn out. If y'all are anything like me, you quite frequently get sucked down rabbit holes on TikTok. If your FYP is anything like mine, it's taken a sharp political turn this year. There are still cute cat videos, but mostly it's politics. On a more serious note, I see many TikToks about cutting out those who have voted against your right, or against your rights. This is a hard topic for me to discuss because our community is kind of divided on it. Whatever decisions you've made to cut people out in your life to preserve your mental health and your physical health, I respect you and I wholeheartedly support you. But I'd like to share with you my story as a story of hope. It's not that I can't cut my family out, it's that I won't. Some of you might not like that, but it's my situation. You see, I grew up in a tight-knit family, just me, my mom, my dad, and my brother. Speaking of my brother, he's trans too. Yeah, we actually didn't tell each other. We told our parents separately, and they made us sit down and talk it out, because they were trying to figure out how to handle that, and they're like, let's just put them in a room together and let them fight. Now that dude is my ride or die. He is my everything, and he is my best friend. And I know that one day he is going to accomplish his dream, and he's going to be the very best doctor that I have ever known. I'm blessed to have someone in my life who grew up under the same parents that I did. Someone who knew just how badly it hurt when they cast their votes in November. There was a lot of pain there. I don't know why my parents voted the way that they did. I'm not here to put words in their mouths or to justify their actions. I'm here to tell you how things have shaken out since. As a result of their votes, though, I pulled away from my family. I couldn't even stomach talking to them. If we talked politics, I was filled with rage. They weren't seeing what I was seeing. A lot of the prospective legislation wasn't even on their radars in January. If we talked non-political topics, it felt disingenuous because they didn't see the legislative shitstorm that my brother and I were existing in. I love my parents, and I know they love me, but their votes hurt badly. They've previously supported my transition, yet they voted against my rights because they didn't think anything would actually happen. I caught myself thinking, how on earth did we get here? Out of curiosity, by a show of hands, has anybody been in a similar situation with their family? Yeah. You see, my parents have been supportive of me and my brother's transition for the most part. The beginning was rough. We all admitted that. We still admit it. Everything was new. There were a lot of vulnerable and frayed nerves. But words were said that can never be taken back, but actions have been taken to repair the damage. Prior to the election, they started a support group at NASA for the parents of trans kids. Their priests started sending parents with trans kids their direction so they could find community with me and my brother. I remember the day my dad called me in college and told me he was ready to help me with the paperwork to start HRT. He also supported me through my legal name and gender change. The day my mom accepted me and my brother, she went to Party City and bought a bunch of blue candy from the baby shower section. We came home to mason jars, each one filled with a giant rainbow lollipop and filled to the brim with blue candy that said, "It's a boy." I don't know what made her come to acceptance in that moment. Honestly, we never talked about it, but it was a very important life milestone for me and my brother. So how did we get to November 2024? How did we get to the point where I couldn't even stomach talking to the same parents that had been supporting me throughout my journey? How did we get to a place where I felt like the ground beneath me was shaking and they felt nothing at all? And still, I don't know. I don't know what propelled them to vote the way they did. I had moved away and my brother was in college. Neither of us were around much to witness and watch what they were watching and reading. We began to get in heated arguments about politics, so much so that I stopped talking to them. It had gotten to a point where I was so used to telling them my fears and in return being gaslit by statements like, "Oh, I don't think that'll happen. Other politicians will prevent that. The pendulum will swing back." So I shut down. I shut them out. I no longer updated them on the attacks on our lives because they had placed faith in a democracy that was dead to me. I began to exist in a world without the parents I had known to validate my experiences. Until recently. Remember, earlier I told you this would be a story of hope, I promise. So here's where that hope starts creeping back into my life. Over previous months this year, my parents kept reaching out, and I kept slapping their hands away. I could not take any more gaslighting, whether it was intentional or not. But then instead of me starting political conversations, my dad started asking questions and fully taking in my responses. As I informed him about our rights being stripped away across the states, his eyes started opening. The situation was no longer me saying, this will happen. It was, this has happened. These bills have passed. They will become law if they haven't already become law upon passage. He wasn't aware of these things because he wasn't immersed in our news. He wasn't following the legislation. But I was. I was and I have been neck deep in it. As time passed, we started talking more, just me and him. As politicians kept insulting our community and threatening our civil liberties, we kept talking without gaslighting. For anyone who has seen Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, when I opened up, I felt like I was delivering trans news to him like the Grinch was hurling mail around in the post office. He started seeing the blatant bullying of trans people by our legislators, by our commander-in-chief. My mom, who historically does not talk politics, started listening as well. She even started asking questions, and this I am grateful for. Over the past few months, my parents have started inquiring about the protests I've attended. They've started assembling mini pride and trans flags for me to pass out at rallies. They've bought me sticker packs to hand out. They've supplied me with pink, blue, and white wristbands to pass out. They've even started gathering supplies to support our Skillshare and swap meets out in Houston. What started as a devastating and difficult experience has been morphing back into the support network that I grew up with. In fact, my dad expressed interest in attending a protest with me. When I drove to my parents' house to pick him up, I found him standing in the driveway wearing a polo that he had sewn together himself. And that polo was pink, white, and blue. We drove all the way to Austin that day. He stood out there with me and gathered postcards that people filled out as part of our mail-in protest. He even recorded my speech that day. Since I knew he would be there listening to my speech about the trans community, I called back to an experience I had in college, a specific experience that he played a major part in. You see, back in 2015, I had built up my chosen family out in Lubbock. When my dad heard that my friends had nowhere to go for the holidays and no family to spend time with, he cooked up a bunch of Cornish hens and overnighted them to us so we could have a family dinner together. I brought this story up because I wanted to remind him and myself that that's the dad I know. That's my dad. That's my padre. All this being said, I may not have all the rights I started out with this year, but I do have my parents' back. And for those of you who raised your hands earlier about experiencing a disconnect with your family, let this give you hope. Let this show you that people can still wake up. As politicians continue to get more bold in their hate, and as they continue to say the quiet parts out loud, people will keep waking up. And if it's not your parents, it's someone else's. If you still don't have that parental love and support network, we can share mine. Because now, both of my parents want to attend a protest with me. So we will get through this. We will regain the ground that has been ripped out from underneath us. And we will do it with more love and more support than we've ever known before. Thank you all, and keep marching forward.
Emmett, those are very passionate words. Thank you for sharing them. Thank you for being here. Let's see. This is, I wish I had a working printer. This would be so much nicer just to have paper, but this is a plug-in to that, and please donate to an organization that helps us afford things like marketing and outreach and printer paper. So thank you so much. For our next speaker, we will have, oh yes, I'm excited, JL, where are you at?
Good morning, y'all. If you can hear me, can I get a hell yeah? Thank you. My name is J.L. Henry, and I am a trans woman from the Houston area. The gentleman that was just speaking is my best friend, Emmett, and I'm proud to be here with him today to rally together as a community and share this queer joy in the midst of everything going on. I am an indirect tax auditor by day and a political activist and community organizer by night. And for the news media that's listening and any Republicans that may be skulking on the fringes, I'm not a paid protester. I'm taking PTO for this, and this is a major inconvenience of my time. But I'm happy to be here. Before I begin, I would like to thank Trans Unity Coalition for the opportunity to speak. And I would like to thank Melody Tremalo, my dear friend and sister, that is too busy fighting fascists back home in Texas to be here with us today. I am so incredibly grateful to count myself among such incredible women that are leading the charge all over the country to fight for trans rights. To find myself, quite literally, find myself among friends is a gift that I can never repay. Thank you. The world is made better by you being in it, and I'm honored to be stealing your light, if only for a second. Now, I know that was directed at my trans sisters, but I love all of my family. I love my trans brothers and my non-binary siblings and everybody in between. But there's something about being a trans woman whose egg cracked in the middle of all this, to look around and see women that are like you, that have been on the journey longer, that know how to lace up their Nazi stomping boots. That makes you feel something. When I expressed an interest in speaking today, I was presented with a list of topics that the organizers had shortlisted, topics that they felt were particularly appropriate for the day. One topic that leapt off the page for me was hope. And it may not be for the reason one might think. You see, I'm a girl that was raised in the Southern Baptist Church, about as conservative and fundamentalist as it can get. And for better or for worse, that means that certain words have deeply ingrained associations with me. Hope is a word that immediately calls to mind 1 Peter 3:15. Always be ready to make your defense to anyone who demands from you an accounting for the hope that is within you. Those words carry a lot of baggage, especially at a time where Christian nationalists, Christo-fascists really, have hijacked the evangelical church and taken captive the nation that Abraham Lincoln once called the last best hope of earth. As I looked closer, I realized that my schema for hope was even more complicated than that. It was a tangled knot of my Christian faith, American exceptionalism, TM, and wishy-washy platitudes absorbed from Disney movies and political propaganda. Put simply, when the topic of hope presented itself to me, I was greeted by a challenge and an admonition. If you would indulge me, I would like to take the time to untangle what hope means for me, as a trans woman, as an American, and as a Christian. I would like to walk you through my journey. I would like to talk to you about hope. And, if I may be so bold, I would like to give you some hope of your own. On December 1st, 1862, Abraham Lincoln gave his annual address to Congress, and he ended his speech with the following. Is it doubted then that the plan I propose, if adopted, would shorten the war and thus lessen its expenditure of money and of blood? Is it doubted that it would restore the national authority and national prosperity and perpetuate both indefinitely? Is it doubted that we here, Congress and executive, can secure its adoption? Will not the people respond to a united and earnest appeal from us? Can they, by any other means so certainly or speedily assure these vital objects? We can succeed only by concert. It is not, can any of us imagine better, but can we all do better? The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. We must disenthrall ourselves, and then we shall save our country. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. We of this Congress and this administration will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance or insignificance can spare one or another of us. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or dishonor to the latest generation. We say we are for the Union. The world will not forget that we say this. We know how to save the Union. The world knows we do know how to save it. We, even here, hold the power and bear the responsibility in giving freedom to the slave. We assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in what we give and what we preserve. We shall nobly save or meanly lose the last best hope of earth. Other means may succeed, this could not fail. The way is plain, peaceful, generous, just. A way which, if followed, the world will forever applaud, and God must forever bless. This speech is a touchstone of hope for me. I remember the first time I read it, and I was almost moved to tears. It was given at the height of one of the darkest and most pivotal moments in our nation's history, when there was no easy path forward, and when taking up arms against one's brother was somehow the most reasonable option. One reason that this speech sticks with me so much is because it was given to me, it was given on my birthday. The other is that Lincoln's hope still hasn't been fully realized. Sure, the Union won the war and enslaved Americans were emancipated, but Reconstruction failed. The South rebuilt and reorganized in more clever ways. They found loopholes in laws and constitutional amendments and created even more substantial systems of oppression than they had before. Black codes, Jim Crow laws, segregation, disenfranchisement, lynchings, redlining, and the list goes on. Even today, there are somewhere around 2 million Americans enslaved in U.S. prisons. Only about half as many as were enslaved in Lincoln's time. And yet the hope remains. Why did it remain? The funny thing is this story isn't unique to Lincoln. Our history is full of unrealized hope and the accompanying broken promises. Both are woven into the fabric of American exceptionalism mythos, as integral as warp and woof. For better or for worse, from Winthrop's 1630 treatise until today, we have made hope an American value. And, by fate or circumstance, broken promises have seemed to walk always hand in hand with that hope. This is the first chord in that tangled knot of what hope means to me. I kindly beg your patience as I'm going to ask you to hold on to it while we briefly discuss what hope means to me as a Christian. I apologize in advance to anyone here with religious trauma. I promise that I wouldn't be addressing my faith unless I felt it was necessary. As you can see from the examples already discussed, the conflation of Christian faith and American identity have been around since the beginning, and Christian nationalism has been an ever-present threat. One of the Christian nationalists' favorite passages to quote on the subject of hope is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. A verse that is taken as a promise of assured conquest. Success is guaranteed to them. The God of their own imaginations not only endorses their actions, but blesses them for it. He promises them manifest destiny. They exchange God's promise of being an example and a priesthood to the nations with Winthrop's city on the hill. They see the whole world not as their neighbors, but as their very own Canaan, ripe for the conquest. For the record, the verse above does not mean any of that in context, but I know better than to accuse a fascist of reading comprehension. As I began to tease at that knot further, I revisited one of my favorite passages on hope. Hebrews chapter 6, 19 and 20. We have this as a sure and steadfast anchor of the soul, a hope that enters into the inner place behind the curtain, where Jesus has gone as a forerunner on our behalf, having become a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. You see, the author of Hebrews frames Jesus as an intercessor, as a high priest that stands between us and God, perpetually pleading our case and providing a way of salvation. This is the second chord of our knot, and when teased out, brought me to my current understanding of hope. An understanding that I would like to share with you now. I would like to propose that true hope is the byproduct of advocacy. It is a gift that is given to you by someone that is fighting in your corner. Lincoln's hope lives on because despite all of our nation's failures, there have always been people fighting and advocating on behalf of others. Just as a wildfire begins with a single spark, so too does one person's advocacy give the gift of hope to many, which in turn ignites a movement towards progress. Lincoln advocated for the abolition of slavery and the emancipation of enslaved Americans, and that gave hope to the nation. That hope was just one spark among many that spread like a wildfire through this nation and ignited a civil rights movement that is still goading us towards greater equality and progress today. We stand here today at the nation's capital, advocating for our rights and the rights of others, to carry that torch of hope to the next generation and to throw fuel on the fire of progress that is already burning. To declare trans rights are human rights. Can I hear y'all yell that back at me? I'm going to go through a series of statements, and after each one, I'd like you to shout that back at me again, that trans rights are human rights. We have been fighting this fight longer than these fascists have been alive. From the ratification of the 14th Amendment to friendship and freedom. From the invention of gender-affirming medical care to one incorporated v. Olson. From the Compton cafeteria riot to the Stonewall Inn. From Ann Hopkins to Obergefell. I would like to leave you with a quote from one of my personal heroes, Sojourner Truth. If women want rights more than they got, why don't they just take them and not be talking about it? Thank you for your time.
That's a damn powerful quote, by the way. Up next we have, I'm down here. Up next we have Scout Cardio, who is the executive director and founder of Bulletproof Pride, a national LGBTQIA+ youth-led organization addressing systemic gun violence in our community, and Georgetown University Junior of Justice and Peace Studies and Government. Let's give a warm round of applause for them.
Hey, DC. I know there's been a lot of speakers. I know y'all can be louder than that. Hey, DC. There we go. Can we all please give a huge round of applause to the Trans Unity Coalition for putting this all together? Thank you all so much for all your continued work and solidarity. Before I get into things, I want everyone to just take a collective deep breath. There's been a lot going on lately, and it's easy to get overwhelmed, to throw in a towel, to give up, but we cannot afford that right now. We need to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Because when trans rights are under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Standing up and fighting back looks different for each person. And right now, we need everyone to show up how they can. Whether you're someone who signs every single petition, someone who lobbies lawmakers, someone who creates a safe space in our communities, or someone who reposts on social media and spreads the word, the trans community needs you. Each and every single one of you is making the world a better place with the work you are all doing today and by showing up. And I urge you to continue to show up for the trans community every single day, because an attack against one of us is an attack against all of us. Before attending Georgetown, I attended a college in a conservative town where I was the only gender nonconforming athlete in our entire Division I athletics program. I only played soccer for one season at that school because I experienced an unhealthy amount of transphobia and tokenization from teammates, coaching staff, and administrators. By the end of the season, I was too scared to continue playing soccer, something that had been a part of my identity for almost 16 years. And then I took a leap of faith and decided to transfer schools in order to get away from the environment that led me to leave the sport that I love. And that decision was one of the hardest, if not the hardest decision I've ever had to make. However, it allowed me to experiment with my transness and gender expression in a way that I couldn't before. It also gave me the chance to help fight for a future where no one has to choose between personal well-being and competing in sports. And that choice allowed me to help create a safe space within the gun violence prevention advocacy movement. And it gave me a chance to move to DC and study justice and peace studies and conduct research on how to make sure that there is a safe and just future for all, freedom of gun violence, regardless of socioeconomic status or gender identity. And now I am proud to stand in front of you all today representing Bulletproof Pride, an organization where 2/3 of our leadership team are trans and gender nonconforming youth. As an organization, we come from various advocacy groups to work together and address the root causes of violence against the queer and trans community that has become all too familiar. A few days ago, June 12th, was the 9-year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, which claimed the lives of 49 members of the Latinx and LGBTQIA+ community. And this has become a sad reality for all of us. The queer and trans community is more than twice as likely to be a victim of gun violence than their cisgender and straight peers. 80% of homicides of Black trans women are by firearms. And unlike what J.D. Vance has said, this does not have to be our way of life, and this does not have to be our normal. At Bulletproof Pride, we believe that we the people means all people, regardless of identity, zip code, or socioeconomic background, should have the freedom to live unafraid of gun violence. We are a national grassroots organization, and we work to address the intersectional issues facing our community. We cannot work to address gun violence without addressing homelessness, criminal justice reform, restorative justice, ending institutional discrimination, and voter suppression, among other core issues. And with the rise of extremism and hate crimes across the country, it is important now more than ever before to highlight the voices of the LGBTQ community whose lives have been directly impacted by these acts of hatred perpetuated through gun violence. We at Bulletproof Pride believe that all of us have a seat at the table, and when that seat isn't initially offered, we pull up a damn chair ourselves. Our history of change within our organization is best describes change as a volcano. Using social justice theories like gadflies in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., change requires constant pressure, and over time, that pressure we as a community have the duty to apply. That pressure builds up under the surface like a volcano until there is an eruption, which we call change. The surface in this situation can be through legislation, election priorities and platforms, public support for an issue, and essentially anything that can be physically seen or felt regarding a specific policy priority. However, the surface isn't everything. There's lava and magma under the surface, and that is where all of us today come in. We create the pressure behind the scenes through things like lobby meetings, op-eds, letters to lawmakers, rallies like the one that we're attending right now, to make sure that people are educated and aware of the impacts of systemic issues like civil rights injustices and gun violence. Lawmakers aren't going to act on these priorities for their constituents without knowing that this is a priority, and that is where we all come in. We cause noise either publicly or in private to gather that support that eventually leads to this volcano erupting and to the end results we eventually want to see. And that change may feel impossible to see on a national level right now, and that's respectable. A lot's going on. And personally, when I see the national legislature failing at their jobs in order to avoid burnout and anger, I try to reground myself in my community, work with local businesses and other organizations to rediscover a sense of purpose and belonging, and the motivation to keep going. And that is what I urge all of you to do today. Our local advocacy is crucial right now because the ACLU has tracked over 600 bills that have been introduced just this year targeting trans people. Shame. And if you need some support getting back into your roots to stop these bills from passing, join a local Bulletproof Pride chapter that's launching this summer. You can check out our website and get plugged in your local communities. We really want to keep mobilizing all of you because all of this is so crucial and lives are at risk right now. And in order to set off these volcanoes of change, we need all hands on deck within our communities to start recontrolling the narrative surrounding gun violence in the LGBTQIA+ community. And again, we cannot do this work alone. We need to create coalitions like those on display today and rally alongside those in the halls of Congress, those who are lobbying to protect our community, and local organizers like all of you who are working to send a clear collective message. We are not going anywhere. Let me hear you say it. We are not going anywhere. Trump and his administration can try and take away our health care. He can try and legislate trans and gender nonconforming people out of existence. He can try and erase us from national monuments. Right-wing politicians have talked more about LGBTQ people and immigrants than they have talked about working-class Americans. They've dragged Americans into an endless culture war over bathrooms, books, and sports. They've made queer, trans, documented, and undocumented kids their political pawns. And to quote one of my favorite books, The Hunger Games, they will not use my tears for their entertainment, and I refuse to become a political pawn to a white supremacist. Thank you.
Give me 1 second here to pull up our list of speakers. Bree got busy for a second. 1 sec. Next up, we've got Morgan. Morgan, are you here? Feel free to come on down, yeah.
Brothers, sisters, and siblings, come a little closer. We're all spread out and crowded. We're few in number today, but we got to concentrate our power, you know? So. All right, when I say trans, you say power. Trans, 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 trans. Brothers, sisters, and siblings, my name is Morgan. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm a Washington, D.C. resident and a proud Jewish transgender woman. Today, we are standing here rallying for our freedom, but yesterday, here was a brazen display of military chauvinism and nationalism that was performed before the world by this extreme right-wing government. Shame. It was meant to show strength, but in reality, it showed weakness. It showed fear. Fear of what? Fear of the rest of us. Fear of working and oppressed people of this country acting in our interests instead of the interests of a tiny group of American billionaires. Fear of a world where black lives matter. Fear of a world where trans lives matter, where women's lives matter, where Palestinian lives matter. And above all, a fear that soon the world won't revolve around them anymore. God willing, it won't. We are also rallying today while our siblings in Los Angeles are facing down a military occupation where a U.S. senator can be brutally arrested for questioning the fascists giving the marching orders to ICE agents who are terrorizing our immigrant neighbors. We must acknowledge and commend their immense courage to go out into the streets, to taste the tear gas and nurse the wounds left by rubber bullets and police batons, and to continue to march and repeat the demand, abolish ICE! Abolish ICE! Say it with me, power to the people, no human is illegal! Power to the people, no human is illegal! Power to the people, no human is illegal! My friends, I don't say it today just to say it. These things are interconnected. They affect us as trans people too. Their oppression is our oppression. We can't understand our oppression and the attacks on our community without understanding that hatred directed at trans people and at immigrants is part of the same divide and rule strategy designed to keep the working class from standing together against the billionaires' agenda. We can't figure out how to fight back without understanding who we are fighting and why. Police forces used to arrest people demonstrating today will be used to arrest trans people tomorrow for using the wrong bathroom or helping others access hormone therapy. ICE agents are also kidnapping queer and trans people who have come to this country as refugees from U.S. imperialism, which has destroyed their home countries and put right-wing governments in place to facilitate the business needs of U.S. corporations. Shame. Those ICE agents will deport those queer and trans people home where they're likely to be killed. Bombs and missiles given to Israel by the United States are falling on queer and trans Palestinians in Gaza just the same as straight Palestinians. The Israeli blockade of Gaza, supported and enabled by the U.S. government, is starving queer and straight Palestinians alike. Shame! This is capitalism. This is imperialism. It is inherently anti-LGBTQ just as much as it is inherently working class, anti-working class. This is how our liberation is intertwined. The politicians in Congress or in state offices across the country who today profess to care about LGBTQ rights and LGBTQ safety, they aren't inherently pro-LGBTQ. Within my own lifetime, we have seen bipartisan anti-LGBTQ bigotry, a bipartisan genocide of LGBTQ people during the AIDS crisis, a bipartisan persecution of LGBTQ people in the military, a bipartisan throwing of trans people under the bus. I'm not calling these politicians liars. I'm saying that we fought for and won this tolerance. We marched, we protested, we disrupted, we rose up in defense of our humanity as LGBTQ people, and we made them care. We made them include us. If we expect politicians to act in defense of our rights now, to stand up to these far-right attacks, we have to hold both of their feet to the fire. But we can't put all of our eggs in one basket either. The trans revolutionaries of our past, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, Leslie Feinberg, Lou Sullivan, they didn't put their faith in politicians or corporations to save them. They went to the people. They marched in the streets, they organized with their people and with the working class because that's where the real power in society lay. This story goes all the way back to Stonewall itself. In Greenwich Village, only about 500 feet down the street from the Stonewall Inn, used to be the Women's House of Detention, a prison for women and transmasculine people notorious for its brutality and horrid conditions. When the uprising at Stonewall began on that night in late June 1969, the women inside the prison rose up in solidarity, including Black Panther Party members Joan Byrd and Afeni Shakur, the mother of Tupac. They burned mattresses and shoved them in the prison windows in solidarity with the uprising on the street down below. And a month later, the newly formed Gay Liberation Front returned to the Women's House of Detention to protest the government's persecution of the Black Panthers. Because of this solidarity movement, Black Panther co-founder Huey P. Newton actively tried to bridge the gap between the Black liberation movement and the gay and the women's liberation movements. The following year, he met Sylvia Rivera herself at the Revolutionary People's Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, and he wrote, and I quote, "There's nothing to say that a homosexual cannot also be a revolutionary. And maybe now I'm injecting some of my prejudice by saying that even a homosexual can be a revolutionary. Quite the contrary, maybe a homosexual could be the most revolutionary." 1970, that's when these words were written. At the same time, Marsha and Sylvia were founding STAR, Street Transgender Action Revolutionaries. And that group wasn't just a collective to look out for queer sex workers and homeless trans people, which it was also a part of the Young Lords Party. The Young Lords fought for Puerto Rican independence from U.S. colonialism, but they also ran security at the first Pride parades. They recognized that women and LGBTQ people were oppressed by the same capitalist system as Boricuans, and that they would all have to fight together and achieve their liberation together. Here in Washington, D.C., we've seen many massive marches over the years for LGBTQ rights. The 1979 National March on Washington for Gay and Lesbian Rights, held 10 years after Stonewall, was the first such national march. But this march actually came at the end of a 5-day-long conference convened by queer third world activists. The march was actually opposed by some DC-based LGBTQ groups because of the fear in the wake of Harvey Milk's assassination. But the National Coalition of Black Lesbians and Gays pushed it forward, fully aware that the only response we can have to fascist repression and intimidation is not to run and hide, but to be bold and fight back all the more. This was where our movement was 50 years ago. This was the unity of struggles that our ancestors understood in their bones. This is the example they set for us. Brothers, sisters, and siblings, will we do any less than them? Will we do any less than them? Will we be scared back into the closets by fascism? Will we fight back? Will we fight back? Trans, cis, black, white, one struggle, one fight. Trans, cis, black, white, one struggle, one fight. Trans, cis, black, white, one struggle, one fight. My friends, look around us. We know that this system is done for. The question is, what kind of world are we going to build in its place? Are we going to continue to prop up a tiny, tiny elite of billionaires while tens of millions of people struggle and suffer to get the bare necessities of life? Are we going to maintain a world where people can be denied a roof over their heads, or an education, or health care, or participation in public life just because they can't afford it or because they have the wrong identity? Are we going to continue to build a world full of war and genocide? Or are we going to build a better world where the needs of the people are put first instead of profits? This isn't an abstract question, it's the defining question of our time. Brothers, sisters, and siblings, my name is Morgan. I'm a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, and we're trying to build that world. I hope that you'll build it with us. All power to the people!
All power to the people. I like that. We have right now somebody who really wanted to share some extra words too. This is somebody who is just an attendee, I believe, who is here and wants to show love and solidarity. So if we can give a warm round of applause for Brendan, a proud father.
That's actually why I'm here. I'm looking around the crowd and I'm wondering, do we have any other dads here? Any? No one's go on. Hold it up a little slightly. So I do want to wish you a happy Father's Day. This is, of course, a day that's supposed to be about dads, but I know that this might be a day that is complicated for some of you because of how you were raised. It is my wish, my hope that you all were raised by parents that supported you, who loved you, and were proud of you regardless. I know there's a non-zero chance that that's not the case for all of you. So I don't mind being, if you don't mind me being for a couple of minutes, your surrogate dad. You can even call me dad if you want. I know my wife would love it if you called her mom. So I want to say this to you as your surrogate dad. I am so proud of you. I love you so much. You make me so proud. I admire your integrity. I admire your truth to yourself, that you have been true to yourself, like the bard said, to thine own self be true, and you are a living example of that. I am so glad to be your dad. I know that was, for some of you, it may have been difficult. But I want you to know, I was telling my beautiful wife on my way down here, I said, like, we're from Generation X, so we're kind of like the parent generation that we're the transition ones. We're the ones who are learning more so than perhaps generations before us. What happens after us, when we got like the millennials and Y and Z, whatever you're calling yourselves now, it's going to get better. because it's not full of people who have lived with this stigma when they were growing up, who were thought of it as something that was not normal, and many of us are becoming allies, and many of us realize that this is about you and it's not about our past, this is about you. But not all of us are. That's going to get better. Each generation is going to learn from the previous ones, and we're learning it because of you, because of your strength, because of your integrity, and because you're not afraid. I have learned so much from my trans daughter. A couple of years ago, I would have said I'm a proud father of a beautiful girl and a wonderful boy, and now I have no problem saying I am the proud dad of two beautiful girls. And they make me so proud, and you make me so proud. And as your surrogate dad, I just want to say thank you for making me proud. Now go clean your room.
I want to say that while holding myself together as best as possible, I was a foster child. I did not have a dad. Brendan, thank you so much for being my surrogate dad. Next up, we have a return speaker. Thank you for being here last time. Thank you for being here again. We have Emmett Livingston.
I remember the first Pride Parade I ever marched in very fondly. It was 2013, the parade was Wizard of Oz themes, and we all sang, ding dong, Dome is dead, Dome is dead, Dome is dead, ding dong, the wicked Bill is dead. It was lighthearted fun. At the time, I was a young bisexual woman, and now life changes, and we all felt like the world was opening up and moving forward. Politics didn't feel personal to me, yet. They sure as hell do now. It is a very short line to draw from Edie Windsor's victory in 2013 and Jim Oberfell's victory 2 years later to my own union in 2023. Last Saturday at World Pride, I got to march arm in arm with my husband. He has been protesting for our rights for longer than I've been alive, and it fills my heart with joy to have him at my side. But over the first few days of June, several friends texted me Happy Pride, and I have to say, I've had some complicated feelings on that greeting. Their intent is kind, but the world right now is largely not, especially since Trump was elected, and that's elected, not crowned. Thank you very much. There are plenty of moments that can be met simply with Happy Pride. Marching in a parade with my husband, families with kids cheering from the sidelines, Happy Pride. An afternoon Zoom call with my mom to tell her about the weekend's protests, I'm proud of you, honey. And Happy Pride. And I want to share a moment of queer joy with you all about my mom. My mom was and is one of my greatest allies. She shared the news of my transition with family and friends, answering all of their questions and practicing my name and pronouns with them. She helped me to get all of my documents updated as a Christmas gift to me that first year I came home as myself. That same year, she mentioned while updating her boss and coworkers about me, she made an offer to be a source of support if they or any of their children ever come out, and several immediately took her up on this offer. Since then, it is a standing offer I also make, and one that I make sure to post on socials a couple times a year, on the transgender days of visibility and of remembrance at the very least. And this may not seem like much. Posting online is certainly not enough to save our rights nor rescue our democracy from Trump's coup. For that, we need millions to take to the streets like we saw yesterday. We need bail funds, we need mutual aid networks. We need everyone to show up and contribute in whatever ways they can. And critically, we need to see record-breaking turnout for elections at every level of government, local and national. But in the meantime, when it isn't election week, when you're on a lunch break at work, a post on social media and a one-on-one conversation can have a profound impact on a personal level. It's is a path out of the cave. Every post, every conversation, every handwritten sign, every chant is a statement that we exist. The personal is political. Hate is spread like poison through social media and sound bites. It is easy, after all, to make people fear the unknown other. So what do? We help everyone to understand that they are surrounded by queer and transgender people. We are your friends, we are your coworkers, we are your children. We are not a faceless other to be scapegoated along with immigrants for every societal ill. We are here, we are everywhere, and we are not going away. The political is personal. Last Sunday, my husband and I also came out for the National Trans Visibility March. About halfway through, I climbed up the small hill at the foot of the Washington Monument and looked out at the crowd stretching before me and behind me. Looking back, I saw our past, the countless gender-expansive individuals who have come and gone, some of whom were uplifted in their societies as divine beings, or those who rose up to create a space for themselves, and of course, too many others who never had the chance to be who they truly are. And looking forward over that march, and now over this crowd, all of you gathered here today, I see our future. The future we are making for ourselves with every action we take. We have not stood quietly while they tried to erase us from government websites and monuments, nor while they threatened to throw trans women in men's prisons. We push right the hell back when they threaten our healthcare. We say hell no when they try to legislate us out of sight and out of existence. Transgender people have always existed and will always exist. The Trump Musk regime and Project 2025 cannot change this. You are all here today for this cause, and I implore you, call everyone you know into this movement. Bring everyone you can along. Call your representatives, national and local. Sign the online petitions. Wear your pride shirts at the grocery store. Every conversation helps. Every action shows we are not alone. Every step builds momentum as we rise up together. Let your voices ring out when you say, Trump is not a king and Elon is not our president. Transgender people will always exist and no human being is illegal. The very first Pride was a riot. My first Pride was a celebration. And make no mistake, this year's Pride is a protest. We the people will prevail, and I look forward to the year that Pride can once again be a party. It will be a celebration of love and of our victory over hate.
I believe next up we have Raina. Raina, awesome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raina, and I'm a community organizer here in DC. Today we gather not just as trans people, but as heirs to a legacy of resistance and creativity. I stand here, and we all stand on the shoulders of Black, trans, and gender non-conforming people who fought back. At Stonewall and before,
and who turn their oppression into art and community and revolution. And we must remember that Black culture is American culture. Blues and hip hop, slang and fashion. This country's largest export, its culture, is fundamentally Black, queer, and trans. These things cannot be denied, and they cannot be separated. And it's not just history, right? Today, even the internet itself moves forward because of Black trans people, especially trans women who've pioneered the digital spaces we all thrive in now. Every meme you use, all the slang you use, all the dancing you do, so much of that comes, of what we call online culture, comes from Black, queer, and trans creativity. But here's the truth.
While our culture gets commodified, our communities stay under attack. While they steal our styles and our art and flip them for profit, they seek to criminalize our existence at the same time. And that's no accident. The same system that murders black trans women in the streets is the one pushing these anti-trans laws in every state legislature across the country. That's right, gutting healthcare and social services, and locking migrants in cages. The same politicians who demonize as woke, another black trans word, by the way, and scream about DEI like it's some sort of slur, are the ones who have no vision for our future, because their vision is just more oppression and more exploitation of the majority of working and oppressed people. They call us dangerous, but look at them, spending billions on bombs to drop on our siblings in Gaza and all around the world. All of this while we can't afford rent, medicine, or food. They want to silence us because they know our power. They want to divide us because they fear what happens when we unite. Let me be clear. Our enemy is not each other. It's not the immigrant. It's not the black person over there. It's not the trans person over there. Our enemy is the billionaire class, that tiny minority hoarding wealth as we scrape by, and their lackeys in the building behind us. The landlords, the bosses, the feckless politicians on both sides of the aisle, and their police force killing our community, they are the enemies. They profit from our pain. They need people fighting amongst themselves over crumbs so we don't turn on them. But if we did, what would happen? Their ultimate goal is to drag us backwards, to drag us back into the closet, to undo every gain our movements have won. Trans rights, but also civil rights, women's rights, workers' rights, the social programs that keep us alive. And let's not forget, those were not won by the politicians in that hall. They were not won by wealthy people. They were not given to us by bosses. Those were won by people like you and I, not bestowed upon us by the wealthy. It was us, and they know that. That's why they want to erase trans people from history. They want to ban our health care and lock us out of public life. But we cannot let them. Will we let them? Because we, trans and non-binary people, black and brown people, working people, we are the ones with vision. We are the ones that imagine a better world for everyone. A world beyond borders, beyond endless wars and exploitation. We are the ones that want to make that power real. We have the power. So how do we win? We unite. We honor our black trans elders by standing up and connecting all of our struggles together, just like the street transgender action revolutionaries did, linking struggles for housing, jobs, healthcare, against imperialism, against racist police terror, against war. We show up not only for ourselves here in the United States, but around the world. Because all trans people, all queer people, all working people crushed by this murderous system deserve a new one. A system that's by us and for us. And to the billionaires and millionaires, including the ones that show up in the building behind me every day for work, know that your time is running out. Like Martin Luther King said, capitalism has long outlived its usefulness. The people see through the rainbow washing, the pink washing. We see through the demonization and the lies. We know you fear us because when all people come together, trans, cis, gay, straight, black, or white, that is how we win. So let's commit to getting free together. Let us be elders and ancestors that future trans children will thank. Not just because we're surviving, but because we're fighting and we're winning. Because when we fight, we win. Repeat after me. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
every moment's always busy. I apologize. Which phone? This phone. We had a couple other speakers. They unfortunately were ill today. One had a confirmed case of COVID and unfortunately will not be here. Another one is also ill as well. And so I imagine they're both watching. So thank you for offering to speak today. And I hope you both feel a lot better today and tomorrow. There was a little surprise statement here that we tried this last time too. We tried to reach out to members of Congress to say, hey, if you'd like to show some solidarity here with the transgender community of America, please, this would be a great opportunity to. We didn't really get too much response last time, and this time around we also unfortunately did not get too much response. We had a statement last time from Senator Chris Van Hollen, and interestingly enough, we also received another statement this time, and I think I will, out of respect, definitely read and be a little less, less petty about it this time. Last time was a little more. But out of respect, and this was a statement written, but while I regret that I am unable to join you in person, I am grateful for the opportunity to share a few words as you rally today, showing the nation that the transgender community is proud and resilient. This is a moment during Pride Month where we celebrate the past progress we have made on equal rights and justice for the LGBTQ+ community, but also take stock of the present dangers that trans Americans face with Donald Trump in the White House. Today marks 5 years since the Supreme Court handed down its decision in Bostock v. Clayton County, Georgia, which affirmed that the Civil Rights Act protects workers from discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. At the same time, Donald Trump is trying to turn back the clock, attacking the hard-won legal rights of trans people, undermining LGBTQ+ health resources, shutting trans service members out of our military, and scapegoating trans kids in school. Trump is waging a multi-front assault on the trans community with a singular goal. He wants to scare you into being silent. But you stand proudly today in front of the Capitol and outside the White House, showing that we will not be silent. The threats that the Trump administration pose are real, but together we will overcome these challenges and build a future for America where every trans person is free to live and love as their true self, without fear of discrimination or violence. As we look back to the victory of the Bostock decision, we must remember that our progress toward a more perfect union is rarely won without a fight, and I continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with you in those fights to come. Thank you. That was from Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland. And while my hands are a little tied, I am also sending applause out of solidarity there, because we do need more people to speak up. We need more people to speak up actively. We need more people to speak up in there. We need more people to speak up for us. Until we have full representation in these walls, we need people to be our allies. And this is something that 2025 is unfortunately that year. And the senator spoke about the Bostock ruling, and that is also a big factor as to why we're here today. Today's June 15th. Today is June 15th, 2025. June 15th, 2020. I was at home, playing Animal Crossing on my island of Mindanao, and I missed that. I missed those Animal Crossing days, but that is when the ruling came out, and it was a victory for our community. And you know what? I took the actual majority opinion here from Neil Gorsuch. Can you believe that? An employer who fired an individual for being homosexual or transgender fires that person for traits or actions it would not have questioned in members of a different sex. Those who adopted the Civil Rights Act might not have anticipated their work would lead to this particular result. But the limits of the drafter's imagination supply no reason to ignore the law's demands. Only the written word is the law, and all persons are entitled to that benefit. And I commend that. We need more of that. Because this is our America too. And it seems these days that some people have forgotten that we are also human We are also American. We deserve the same rights as anyone else, and it is important that we never let our guard down, that we never give up that fight, that we never consent away our lives and our rights and our own pursuit of happiness. And that is why we are here, because we need to remind ourselves. We need to tell others who do not feel safe to be here, those who are scared, those who feel this is no longer a possibility to even speak up for ourselves. Why? What's the point? There is so much point, and I see that here right before me, standing in front of our democracy. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Those watching, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for never giving up that fight. It is our fight to fight, and we will not be silent. I have a little plug-in too, and this is something specific to our nonprofit organization, which Trans Unity Coalition. Funny that. We've been around for several months now. We've been doing a lot of work around the country. We've been putting together a growing team. We initially started in Michigan, pre-election. Who knew? No. We have a registered chapter in Ohio now. We have more registered chapters on the way. It takes paperwork, it takes time, but on the way. Internally, we chartered all 50 states. We're saying, yes, we want you to take part in our mission, empower the transgender community across America. And there's so much we do. It isn't just this. It's so much. So if I can have a moment of your time, and I just have to plug in what our team does, because they want this too. We're looking to set up a relocation assistance program. This is a last resort. This is nothing we want to push on people. This is if you need it. I hear so many stories. I get so many emails about I need this, and we need to grow that. People need to be safe. They need to continue the fight. If they're out, they're out. They need to fight to see tomorrow. And that's important. We have a CPR, first aid, self-defense program. I'm a certified CPR instructor. I'm a former EMT. We have EMTs on the team. We teach CPR for free. If you want to know those skills, please learn them. We just have to be able to get to you, which limits, but we have people who want to help there too. We have an art platform. So many transgender and non-binary artists unable to share their work, their brilliance, their minds, their heart, their visions, due to limitation. We want to expand that. We want to give people their time to show what's going on in there. We have a research arm. We have people who are putting their brains to the test. Have you seen what they did with the CDC? They gutted it. Funding? Adios. We need to be in your dissertation. What is this? No. We have a journalism team. We have a team of writers. We have a team of filmmakers who they're doing their hardest to put stories out, to normalize our community. Not to ourselves, that would be preaching to the choir, but to middle America, those who are inundated by misinformation, who never had to think about the word gender and what that means inside. We all know that. We can teach that. And we need to spread the word there, because you get people who are shouting in these halls talking about the dumbest of things. And we need on-the-ground efforts too. And in Michigan, in Ohio, the advocacy efforts that we've held. In 2024, we were lobbying for House Bill 5300 to 5303, and those were safeguarding identification protections at the state level in Michigan. And we got those to go through. Fuck yeah. Go Michigan. Recently, Ohio, I'm so sorry, Ohio, the budget bill, House Bill 96. So many things in there that the gerrymandered Republicans are just like, hey, we can get away with this. They have no shame. They're bought out. They suck. And there's so many other states. Texas. They're going to make us a felony. That's stupid. And it's harmful. And it's sad. And we need to ramp up these efforts now because there's already millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars that Turning Point USA, Heritage Foundation, all these assholes, they know that they can't get away with the same stuff anymore. They want a different scapegoat, and that's us right now. But you know what? We're strong. We've been here for centuries, beyond that. And we have so much fight to put in, and we need you to join our team. And anyone who was here checking out earlier, we have a Discord. It's, share it, it's public. So many wonderful people there all over the country. And again, a reminder, 4 to 7 p.m. today, League of Her Own. If you want to talk about what she can do to help out, they are being incredibly kind to open up their business today to give us space to casually talk about what we want to do and how you can get involved. And anyone online watching this who may not be here today, email us, tag us, something. I don't know, I'm bad at social media. I log in and I'm already lost, but please, we want you there. We want to grow our efforts there because we are by the transgender community, for the transgender community, and everything we do is for us. So please, give us a chance, give us a moment. And to that end, that was a little plug-in. Thank you for listening. I'm really bad at that, but you're all just wonderful people for putting up with that. I wanted to ask if anyone else had anything they wanted to say, because we are going to be heading to the White House, but while we are here in front of the Capitol, this is a great opportunity to speak to those here. If you have a buddy who wants to take photos, by all means, it's awesome. Opted to get to do that. But we have a wonderful wonderful person who has offered their time. Please, if you have anything you want to share here. Thank you. Please welcome Julian.
So I understand I'm preaching to the choir here because you're all coming out to a rally. So you're obviously doing something in the activist space. But one thing I just wanted to say real quick while you're all here, one thing I would love for everyone who's watching this to do, we need connectedness. We need to get connected because the more connected we are, the harder we'll be to break. Some of you are with organizations already, like obviously I've picked my little team here, we've got, PSL, we've got, whether it's Trans Maryland or whatever org it is that you feel comfortable with assigning yourself to, we can do more than that. If you're with an org, reach out to other organizations. Inter-organizational connectedness, that's what's gonna make us strong and keep us resilient with all these things that are happening to us. And if you're, a trans person and you're alone, or if you have trans friends, connect with them. Any connectedness you can get is going to keep you safer, keep your friends safer. So I just want to emphasize that, encourage you to do that. That's all.
I thought I saw someone else too. Did anyone else have? I see a little. Don't be shy, please. Please, get on up here. We got an Avery over here.
Oh God, I've never done this before. Oh fuck. Okay. Okay. This is extremely unprepared. I just wanted to say, on my way coming over here, I think at least 4, maybe 5 friends who wanted to protest this weekend and didn't make it out. A couple of them were just tired because we stayed out way too late last night. One of them got within like 30 seconds of getting out the door and got scared. And one of them heard what happened in Minnesota yesterday and got so freaked out he just played video games for like 4 hours in a terror coma yesterday. I guess to the people who are here, check in on whoever those friends are that didn't make it out. And to the people who didn't make it, get up and fight next time. We're gonna figure it out if we stick together. That's all.
I got the blessing to come up here. So, I'm going to be very, very quick. First off, to give a plug, I am part of Transsexual Menace. We're one of the chapters here. There's a chapter in New York, in Minneapolis, all over the place, right? So, you don't have to join us. As Jillian said, join some organization. Find some organization to be part of. If you are part of an organization, find other people in other organizations so that when your organization shows up, we all show up. That's how we get through this. Couple of things, real quick. We do have shirts. We have shirts. They're all XLs, but if you want to pick a free shirt, we got some. All right. The other thing I want to mention is part of what I like to do when I go to protests is I like to talk to people that do not like me. I will talk to the people with the red hats. I will talk to the Jehovah's Witnesses. I will talk to the people with the giant signs that say repent. I love talking to those guys. It's great. And here's the thing. I spent yesterday carrying this flag outside the Trump parade, right? I talked to lots of people that do not like me. But here's the thing. You may be surprised by this, but a lot of people did like me. A lot of people. They were kind of scared to do anything out in public, but there's a lot of people that are appreciative to see this flag being worn by someone with a uniform. All right? There are people on the other side. You may not like them, they may not like you, but they have sympathy for you that they are unwilling to show in public. Okay? There are lots and lots of people that are dissatisfied with the situation. And that's people on both sides of the situation. People that are afraid to come out and tell people about it, but they exist out there. All right? We will get through this together. It's better if we can be out here, out in the open. Thank you all for being out here. I know we're going to get marching soon. If you're up for doing some marching, I love marching. I'm down for that. But there are also people in the conservative closet who they wish they could be out here with us, and they're unable to. But they will be out here, and by us being out here, it gives them a little bit of bravery to maybe come out here with us sometime later. So, find an organization, find other organizations, get connected. If you got a protest planned, talk to the other organizations, bring them out here, we can all show up together. All right? Fantastic. Let's get marching.
Events are funny. Sometimes things just kind of are go, go, go. We are going to be marching soon, actually. That is happening. And is anyone excited? Is anyone excited for heading over to the White House? Great, thank you. We do need to have a couple of minutes, and I wanted to do ground rules first. First is we are going to be guided by Metro PD. They assisted us last time. They made sure that nobody's in the street and that we are, having a safe travel as we march that way. And so for that reason, we do also, make sure that if they say to swear, that would we just abide by those. But what we are going to be doing is originally our march was going to be along Constitution Avenue. But there's still a lot of stuff there, apparently, from yesterday. So we were advised that we actually will be just going straight shot Pennsylvania Avenue down, which means one less turn, actually, a little bit more straightforward. and so fine too. I won't judge. I do that all the time sometimes. And I would say that please, if you
Yeah, sure. Hi, folks. So, we're few in number, but the great thing is, amplified sound, we can actually be a whole lot louder than normal. So, we've got, we'll be having the big speaker in the granny cart here is going to be kind of the chant lead, and then we have a couple of megaphones, which people are free if anybody wants to, like, you know, have one and, like, you know, shout to the world our things. I think they'd be really great. If you talk to my friend Shihan right here. Is there anybody who actually is kind of in a megaphone kind of mood, maybe? Okay, it's fun. It's just point and click. And yeah, so I guess should we go over some of the chants? We can go over some chants. Okay, so. I think we know a lot of these already, right? Like, when trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back! Good. And we know, what was the one we already did? When I say trans, you say power. Trans? Power. Trans? Power. Trans? Power. Good. Let me get my chant sheet out. It's our history, don't deny it. Stonewall was a trans riot. It's our history, don't deny it.
Stonewall was a trans riot.
It's our history, don't deny it.
Stonewall was a trans riot.
Good. Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump, go away. Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump, go away. Racist, sexist, anti-gay,
Donald Trump, go away.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay,
Donald Trump, go away.
All right. I like this one. Not just rainbow merchandise, we want basic human rights. Not just rainbow merchandise.
We want basic human rights.
Not just rainbow merchandise.
We want basic human rights.
Separate the church and state. Stop the violence. Stop the hate. Separate the church and state.
Stop the violence. Stop the hate.
Separate the church and state.
Stop the violence. Stop the hate.
Anybody have any other ones that they really want to do on the way there? Trans rights are human rights!
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 Black trans lives matter!
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 Any others? Okay. We'll come up with some on the way, I'm sure. So. Bree, Earth debris, paging Bree.
I don't know. I'm stuck with the phone right now, so.
Alright, I'm going to tear down this mic real quick, but yeah, Bree is coordinating the march. We'll be leaving soon. That's all I got for you.
Test. All right, this is great. It's a cool little setup, huh? Hey folks, one final question. Does anybody else want to be co-chant lead? Lead some chants on the mic. Anybody? Anybody at all? Bueller? That's how old I am?
You could have one on you.
No, we gotta turn the sound off.
So yeah, I just need to be able to my phone, all this
Let
stuff can
me
get
not stand in front of it.
That's why you get season. If I turn the phone sideways, will it rotate to widescreen automatically? To the stream, or will it be sideways?
Yeah, it's supposed to be that you start it sideways. Or like, like this.
Yeah.
And then it'll be in that position. But if it's already live, you can't flip it. You gotta end it and then flip it.
I'll let her do that.
Okay, yeah. All this can get moved. Yeah. I couldn't fit the tarp in there again, so I'm just gonna flip it again.
So for this one, you're gonna want to end the stream and then rotate it and then restart it.
Okay.
Because they can't rotate once it's started, but it will rotate once it's.
Alright. 1 second.
Yeah. Let's say that's my boyfriend. I actually promised him that I would keep an eye on it at all times. So,
Hold the stream.
Yeah, anything can go in the car. Kind of check it. Not having to put the speaker in there is really nice. Thank you.
I want an extra sign because I don't have that.
I'm sure everyone can.
No. It was just supposed to be like, what to hold it while I was tearing it down. I know. Can you check if the stream's working? Whenever you get that.
Rights are human rights. Trans rights are human rights.
Yeah. So all the stuff's packed up, just like it was for the car.
Yes. I'll make sure that someone is here because I don't want anyone to get someone here.
Trans rights are human rights.
And you got the radio too.
Trans rights are human rights.
Cool. Thank you.
Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. And trans rights are under attack.
straight day.
But united every day. But united every day. United every day. But united every day.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
This is what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump.
Go away.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay,
Donald Trump, 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 go away.
Stonewall was a riot. Don't you dare deny it.
It was a riot. Don't you dare deny it. It was a riot. Don't you dare deny it. It was a riot. Don't you dare deny it.
Stonewall was a riot.
Don't you dare deny it.
Stonewall was a riot.
Don't you dare deny it.
Stonewall was a riot.
Don't you dare deny it.
Stonewall was a riot.
Don't you dare deny it. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back.
Baby, you mad I got better boobs than you?
Struggle, one fight.
One fight.
One struggle, one fight. One struggle, one fight. One struggle, one fight. One struggle, one fight. One struggle, one fight. Trans rights are human rights. 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 Yo, ho ho, transphobia's got to go. Hey, ho ho, transphobia's got to go. Ho ho, transphobia's got to go. Hey, ho ho, transphobia's got to go. Ho ho, transphobia's got to go. Transphobia's got to go. Hey, ho ho, transphobia's got to go. Transphobia's got to go. Transphobia's got to go. Power! 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 Separate the church and state. Stop the violence. Stop the hate. 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 Proud, DC is a queer town. 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 Stand up, fight back. 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 Woo! Stand up, fight back. 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 Woo! No Trump, no KKK, no homophobic USA. No KKK, no homophobic USA. No Trump, no KKK, no homophobic USA. No KKK, no homophobic USA. 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 not just rainbow merchandise.
We want basic human rights. 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 Trans rights are 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 human rights. Not deportation. We want liberation. 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 Not deportation. Not deportation. Not deportation. Not deportation. No deportation. No deportation. No deportation. No deportation. Let's fucking go. Woo! It's our history, don't deny it. Stonewall was a trans riot. 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 The reason that we do chants like that, where we remember our past, is because we see how the far right is trying to erase that past. They're trying to erase that memory of struggle. They're trying to erase the memory of how we got where we are. They want us to think that all our rights were gifts from on high.
Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter!
Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back!
Stand up, fight back!
Stand up, fight back! Fight back!
Some dude fucking thumbs down and shit, recording it like a dickhead.
Hey! Transphobia's got to go! 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 Trans rights are human rights! 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 Trans rights are human rights!
Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights!
Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! We're queer. We're organized. Don't fuck with us. 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 We're organized. Don't fuck with us.
We're organized!
Don't fuck with us.
Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like. 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 This is what community 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 looks like. liberation, not for war and deportation. 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 Not for war and deportation.
Say it loud, say it proud.
DC is a queer town. 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 DC is a queer town.
Anyway, make it a little easier to hold. Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away!
Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away!
Donald Trump, go away! Donald Trump, go away!
Same struggle, same fight! 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 Trans rights are human rights! 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 Trans lives matter! 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 Trans lives matter!
We want liberation, not deportation!
We want liberation, not deportation!
We want liberation,
not deportation!
We want liberation,
not deportation!
We want liberation,
not deportation! Not deportation! Not deportation! Not deportation! Not deportation! Not deportation! Stop the violence, stop the hate. 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 Transphobia's got to go. 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 Stand up, fight back. 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 Up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. Trans rights are human rights. 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 Trans rights are human rights.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK.
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK.
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK.
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK.
No fascist USA.
No KKK.
No fascist USA.
No KKK.
No fascist USA.
No KKK.
No fascist USA. Woo!
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what community looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what humanity looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what humanity looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what humanity looks like.
This is what community looks like.
Show me what humanity looks like.
This is what humanity looks like.
Show me what humanity looks like.
This is what humanity looks like. This is what humanity looks like. Power! 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 Stand up, fight back! 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 Up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Trans lives matter! 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 Was a riot! Don't you dare deny it!
Don't you dare deny it! Don't you dare deny it! Don't you dare deny it!
Don't you dare deny it!
Stonewall was a riot!
Don't you dare deny it!
Stonewall was a riot!
Don't you dare deny it!
We're here! We're queer! We will not disappear! We're here! We're queer!
We will not disappear! We're here! We're queer! We will not disappear!
We're here! We're queer!
We will not disappear!
We're here! We're queer!
We will not disappear!
Trans rights are human rights!
Trans rights are human rights!
Trans rights are human rights!
Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights. 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 Trans rights are human rights.
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
I said, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
I said, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
I said, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back. Woo!
All of you did that very excellently. Thank you so much. Please, round of applause for everything that you just did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, this is even... I don't feel like holding too much. Don't want to scare the people. We would like to scare them, though, you know? That's... Is that not why we're here? So we now have what we like to call closing remarks, which actually isn't, let's get out of here, but we have essentially an open platform for people who want to share their voices and their words. And what better place than in front of here?
All right, friends, thank you so much for coming out, first off. I am a Minnesota native. I am from St. Paul, Minnesota. So, as we started with a moment of silence for the legislators in Minnesota, I want us again to close out here with a moment of silence for the legislators and the people of Minnesota for the political violence that they are facing, which is instigated by the people in government. So, let's take a moment of silence for that. Thank you, all of you, for coming. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, if you want to speak, just kind of come up and form a line. Or fight me for the mic, I don't know.
Hi everyone, my name is May. I use they, them pronouns. So happy to be with you all today. I have an offering. My experience with organizing and protesting, it's very easy to get slightly, or a lot, disassociated from my body. So I have a feeling some folks here might know something about that. And I just wanted to offer a little bit as you move through the rest of today. Just kind of check in with yourself, notice your breath. You can put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Just kind of feel what's going on in there. Your body's working exactly as it needs to keep you going right now. And just remember, you have all these people with you. And be safe. We keep us safe.
Yes, we do.
Sorry, I just have 3 words. Fuck Donald Trump. That's all. Fuck Donald Trump. 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 All right, that's all.
This was exactly 10 years and 2 months ago I was here.
Ironically, I have 3 words as well. It's Sic Semper Tyrannis, which is death to tyrants. Sic Semper Tyrannis.
Death to tyrants.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK,
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK,
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK,
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK,
No fascist USA.
No Trump, no KKK,
No fascist USA.
Anybody else have words they want to say?
I don't usually do the public speaking thing, so forgive me for my blunders. But I've been going to some protests for a while, and I know that sometimes it can feel a little bit like you're screaming into the void. Chanting, screaming, singing, screaming, especially if you have a smaller crowd, it can feel like you're just getting lost. But as we were marching, you heard people honking for us. You saw people on the sidewalks with their cameras overhearing it. People who didn't even know about this rally are hearing, getting involved, supporting. So what I want to say is just keep going. Keep going, keep doing it. It feels like you're screaming into the void. Sometimes people in power, they close their blinds, they close their windows, they close their eyes. They go back to sleep. They don't want to hear it. But we've got the power of the people on our side. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Keep going, keep looking out for your supporters. If you know somebody who can't come out and protest for them. If you know somebody who could but isn't, invite them next time. We keep us safe, we keep us connected. Keep going.
Yeah, I just want to amplify those words that they just said, because as you saw marching down the street, people were chanting with us. They were cheering with us. They were clapping. You know, we are such a small community when you think about the U.S. population. Trans people are like 1-2%, like generously, unless you're like Generation Alpha, in which case it's like 40%. Which, I mean, let's fucking go. But you know what I mean? So like every one of us, just by being out, just by coming to a demonstration like this, has already kind of taken on a special responsibility to become spokespeople for our community and for our struggle. And just marching down the street here, so many people saw us marching, saw us chanting, you know, maybe they didn't even realize that, like, maybe they'd never seen a trans person before. I think something like half of Americans don't know a trans person in their personal life because we're such a small part of the population. Maybe we're just a news item. You know, they just hear it on the news, they hear the word. They've never seen a trans person. They don't know that we're out here fighting for our rights. Today they saw that. Today Washington, D.C. saw trans people marching for trans rights. This is such an important duty, and it's so important for us too because it gives all of us this strength, right?
We go through our days, day by day, and every single one of us, probably feels isolated. Maybe we're the only trans person in our community. We're the only trans person in our class. We're the only trans person on the bus that day or something. And it kind of gives us this special burden to trans rights are human rights!
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 Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter! Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
Trans lives matter!
So as I was saying, it should feel empowering to us to come out and use our voice today, because so often we are kind of forced to stay silent, right? There's I don't know about you, but when I march, when I chant, when I scream for trans rights, it's because so often we are forced to be silent. And we should find empowerment in that, because every person who didn't march with us today, 10, 100, 1,000 people found out today that we are marching, that we are fighting back. And that is so important because it adds our voices to this struggle, right? There were, I think, 15 million people in the street yesterday at the No Kings protest. Isn't that incredible? Woo! Maybe many of those flew trans flags. Maybe many of them didn't. It doesn't matter, because fundamentally we are on the same side, right? We are all fighting back against this bigotry, against this power grab that threatens all of our rights. Even if you don't realize today that it threatens your rights, it does. If you are cisgender, it threatens your right to self-expression. If you are somebody who uses healthcare in your life, the attack on trans healthcare is an attack on your healthcare too. If they can take away our healthcare, they can take away your healthcare, right? In the big beautiful bill that just happened, that is still happening, they're weakening fundamental parts of Obamacare, of the Affordable Care Act. That's a law that gives tens of millions of people health care. Okay? It's not just trans people. It's disabled people. It's anybody who gets a cold. It's anybody who needs a COVID shot. It's anybody who ever gets sick, and we all get sick. Okay? The attacks on trans people's right to use public facilities are an attack on everybody's rights to use public facilities. We remember within the lifetime of maybe some of the people here when it wasn't the ability of black people to use public facilities equally. This attack on trans rights is fundamentally an attack on all of the gains that all people oppressed in this country and in this society have made over the last 80 years. It is an attack on women's rights. It is an attack on black civil rights. It is an attack on the power of unions. It is an attack on working people. And trans people are the canary in the coal mine. And so long as we fight for trans rights, we are actually fighting for everybody's rights. And that's why everybody who heard us today, it's so important that they heard us fighting, because they need to join us. They need to fight for us and fight for themselves and fight for all of us. Because solidarity forever, exactly. So I want you all to take that with you. Are you all lined up to speak? No. Oh. Okay, well, is it okay if I kind of close out? I know I'm a Jew, but can I still give the benediction? Did you want to speak? Okay,
I don't know if it's kosher, but that's fine, I think.
Hey, y'all. I know you already heard from me. But, regardless of what political party you are, there is one language that is universal, and that is music. And so if you all could indulge me, we'll do a little song together so everyone here can join us. And it's a song that's been used throughout civil rights movements, and it's called The Rich Man's House. Some of you may be aware if you've been to some protests in the past. But I'll go through the first line, and then you all repeat after me. Does that sound good? All right, cool. Well, I went down to the rich man's house.
Went down to the rich man's house,
and I took back what he stole from me.
And I took back what he stole from me.
And I took back my dignity.
And I took back my dignity.
And I took back my humanity.
And I took back my humanity.
And now he's under my feet.
Now he's under my feet.
Under my feet.
Under my feet.
Ain't gonna let him walk all over me.
Ain't gonna let him walk all over me.
Also, now all of us together.
Well, I went down to the rich man's house, and I took back what he stole from me, and I took back my dignity, and I took back my humanity, and now he's under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let him walk all over me. Well, I went down to the rich man's house, and I took back what he stole from me, and I took back my dignity, and I took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let him walk all over me. Switching it to the White House. Well, I went down to the White House, and I took back what they stole from me, and I took back my dignity, and I took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let him walk all over me. Well, I went down to the White House, and I took back what he stole from me, and I took back my dignity, and I took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet, under my feet. Ain't gonna let him walk all over me. Y'all sound beautiful.
Do you want to give our final words? Close us out? Final words? Okay, well. Okay.
I got a few extra things to say, actually. I sometimes will write speeches and try to reuse them because I do feel that in a moment of inspiration when those emotions and those messages come out, it's really good just to kind of jot them down almost as if therapeutically or in a diary, and it's good to share them whenever you have the opportunity to. And if even just a stray person around here chimes in, hears, and takes away something that they feel, then that is a victory in my opinion. And so I need to put that down. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It means everything to stand here together. Trans people, non-binary people, allies, friends, family, and chosen loved ones. We're here for a reason, and that reason is simple. We refuse to be erased. We refuse to be intimidated. And we absolutely refuse to stay silent about the constant attacks on our lives and our base dignity. Our identities, whether trans, non-binary, or any other nuanced shade on the spectrum of gender, are deeply personal. In fact, at times I find it easiest to compare that deeply held belief in one's own gender almost tantamount to faith itself, because we know within who we are. It's not something that can be casually changed because somebody else disapproves. It's a foundational part of who we are, who you are, who I am. Just like any belief that forms the very core of our own existence, and it is ours. It's no one else's place to define it or deny it. Yet, despite how personal or intrinsic our identities are, these basic truths have been swept up in a vicious political storm, weaponized in legislation and public rhetoric in an attempt to cast us away and erase us. But I want to put the focus back on where it belongs, which is firmly on us. Not on those who try to erase us. Today, this rally is about who we are and what we stand for. And we stand for love. We stand for authenticity. And we stand for each other. We stand for a future where our children and their children won't have to face the hateful discourse that tries to paint them as anything less than equal to anyone else. We also need to recognize that there are urgent legislative battles happening all around us, in local, state, national government. Every day we see attempts to whittle away our rights. Access to healthcare, accurate documentation to reflect our identities, even the right to show up in public spaces, here, without fear of being harassed or turned away. These fights are real. They are happening right now. And the only way we can effectively push back is by recognizing the power in our shared voices, in our presence, in our collective effort, and in our votes. But let's be clear, it is entirely too easy to slip into despair when confronted with this barrage of legislation and hateful messages. We might find ourselves thinking, what difference can I make? Am I even being heard? And that is exactly what those who oppose us want us to feel. They thrive on the hope that we will give up, that we'll stay home, and that we will say, I can't do this anymore. And that's not going to happen. Not here, not today. We are rising up, committed to building ourselves stronger in spirit, strategy, camaraderie, and solidarity. Now, to all my beloved trans and non-binary siblings, of all colors, of all capabilities, of all shapes, neurotypes, ages, young and old, of all traumas, of all faiths, and of all lived experiences. To you all I say, this movement is yours. You have the right to be angry, to be hurt, but never forget your right to joy, to find moments of celebration in the midst of adversity, and to keep showing up. Fearless, confident, empowered. Because when we decide to exist proudly in the public eye, we disrupt every storyline that says we should be ashamed or invisible. We prove that we are not going anywhere. And to our allies, your presence here is a profound statement. You might not know how powerful it is for trans and non-binary people to see and hear others who do not share our same identity, and yet are shoulder to shoulder here with us saying, you are seen, you are valued, you are mine. I am fighting for you too. That is the difference between isolation and solidarity. Whether you're a family member who drives a trans kid to a doctor's appointment, a teacher who makes sure your classroom is inclusive, or a friend who stands up to hateful remarks. Your actions ripple outwards, creating real change far beyond what you may realize. And we need you. So let's talk about how we can keep forging ahead, even when the political climate feels like a never-ending storm. The first key is understanding that we need both short-term and long-term strategies. The time to act is right now, if not yesterday, because these legislative efforts to push us back into the shadows are happening every moment as we speak. And yet, the journey towards true equality spans generations. We are building a movement that must weather ups and downs, wins, losses, moments of triumph, moments of heartbreak. Every single exercise of our voice, voting, protesting, speaking up to neighbors, friends, helps shape a world that the next generation will inherit. The actions that you choose to make today, right here, in this lifetime, while you are still around. These actions are the fibers of tomorrow, which make up the cosmic rope which binds us all together. It's tempting at a rally like this to say, charge your phones and bombard your representatives with calls right this second. And yes, direct engagement with our elected officials remains absolutely critical. But I also want to remind us all that constant activation can be draining, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Which, by the way, it's Pride Month. There's so much going on. Who feels that? Show of hands. It is okay to step back and breathe, to find moments of peace, and as I like to say, to come back replenished for the next battle. Because if we burn ourselves out fighting today, we risk having nothing left to give tomorrow. So here's the formula. Attend rallies, demonstrations, protests, but do not burn yourself out. Please. You must be refreshed to return to battle. Support the trans and LGBTQ+ organizations that you feel you most strongly identify with and engage with them. Cheer them on. Always remember that they are people too, working tirelessly, every day, non-stop, committed. They will exhaust themselves out without your encouragement and assistance, your love and your support. Call out your elected officials when they ignore you or hurt you. The best way to make them pay attention is by showing them our growth, our passion, and the conviction in our votes. But you must maintain an open dialogue, lest they only hear from the antithetical. We must be part of their conversation, even when it feels exhausting, daunting, and pointless. And while this rally is brimming with energy, I also want to deliver a layer of reassurance. It's okay if you don't do everything. Other times, sometimes, activism is direct. It could be marching in the streets or lobbying a local representative. Other times, activism is the quiet work of taking care of both your own emotional well-being or supporting a friend going through a crisis. And we need all of that. The trans movement needs that synergy. People out front, mobilizing, and others working behind the scenes, building connections, and offering each other nourishment, kindness, and solidarity. Alongside that, it's vital we pay attention to what's happening in legislative sessions. Your state capitals, Congress, city councils. Even if you can't name every bill introduced in your state, that's fine. There's a lot of them, trust me. Or every last detail of how local politics works. Keep an eye on the big ideas. Find trusted sources, whether it's a local advocacy group or a national trans rights organization. Follow their updates. Please don't shy away just because it seems complicated or draining. If we're not involved, legislation can slowly chip away at our rights without that widespread knowledge or resistance in advance. Awareness, even in small, tiny doses, is a powerful thing, especially when we share that knowledge with others. Remember, many Americans, all genders, all backgrounds, are being caught in the same crossfire of these political power plays. When one group's rights are reduced, it opens the door for the next group to face similar oppression. We have a responsibility, not just to ourselves, but to the broader cause of justice, to remain vigilant, proactive, and united. I also want to stress, just because we're focusing on our own empowerment here, that doesn't mean we're dismissing the harsh realities of the pushback that we face. We all know, all too well, the cruelty is out there. Malicious rhetoric, demeaning campaigns, the attempts to paint us as threats or problems, or anything less than you. But as I said, that's not what today is about. This day is about us. This month is about us. Today is a day for trans people and non-binary people to link arms, literally or symbolically, and say, we are worth protecting. We are worth celebrating who we are. You are all beautiful. Off script. You are all truly amazing people. Never let them tell you you're not. We stand resolute in our desire to keep evolving as a movement, to keep forging ahead. So let's double down on what we came here to do. 1, we rally to remind ourselves that we are not alone. Look around you. The love is out there and the love is here. There is tremendous strength in being physically present with each other. In a time when so many voices on TV and social media try to tear us down, seeing a crowd of supporters is a powerful reminder. We exist, and we matter. 2, we rally to take action. That means showing up, or voting, or contacting our elected officials, reminding them that we are a force that cannot be ignored. When hateful rhetoric arises in your local government or your school district, speak up. Encourage your neighbors to see through the fear-mongering. Advocate for policies that protect and empower our community. And if you need a day off because it's too much, that's okay. It's human. Rest, recharge, and come back ready to fight again. 3, we rally for the healing that we need. Gender is personal. Being forced to justify our own existence day in and day out at every walk of life, to those whose business it is not, it is exhausting. It can chip away at our self-confidence, feed anxiety and depression, and make everyday life, even the most normal or boring parts of life, heavy. Coming together is a form of healing, right here, right now. Sharing experiences, listening to each other, laughing, crying, screaming into the sky. A community that heals together can stand stronger than ever. 4, we rally because the future depends on it. We talk about the now because the now is urgent. Legislation is being pushed, voices are trying to drown us out, but we also hold the future in our hands. Someday, maybe years down the road, a younger trans person will learn about our efforts today, these gatherings, these protests, and they'll say, that collective voice made the life I have now better. Each of us has a role in shaping that legacy. Finally, I want to close out on a note of empowerment. One that reminds each of us that the true power lies within our own decision to care, to speak, to act, to exist. The fact that you are here, the fact that you've chosen to give your time, your presence, and your heart to this rally, to the greater cause, testifies to your inherent power. It's easy to feel small in a world that's relentless in its attempts to deny or diminish us. But we are not small. Every one of us is brimming with potential and capacity for change. Our choice to gather here, to be seen and heard, demonstrates that we will not be erased. Instead, we will spread our passionate activism and love outward. We lift those voices up and we stand by them. And we show them that no one has to go through life alone. We show them that no one has to suffer alone. We show them that we will make it through together. We will stand resilient as a clear, undeniable presence in this country. We fortify each other's courage when we share space, whether physically or online, and say, yes, You are valuable. And if you are under attack, I will link arms with you, keep you close, and defend you as my own. That is solidarity. And that is how we grow more powerful. Day by day, person by person, story by story, community by community, from yesterday to tomorrow. So remember, the power to create change, whether it's in our own communities, however large or small, in our workplaces, however accepting or rejecting, in our halls of government, however clear in support or not, that power to create change starts within each of us. It began the moment we decided that we matter, that our voices matter, that our existence matters, and that we deserve to shape the laws and norms of a society that we call home. This is our home too. And from that inner spark of the soul, it echoes louder, growing until they cannot silence us any longer. My friends, thank you for standing with us here today. To those watching, we feel you here today, right here. We thank you for spreading our voices and relaying this torch. If we keep this flame alive, if we commit to recharging ourselves whether we start to feel worn down, if we use our voices and our choices for justice, that we can and we will outlast any wave of hate that comes our way. We have always had that power. Let's own it. Let's use it. Let's carry it forward together. And I too wish them a happy birthday. Stand strong. Stand proud. Stand visible and indivisible. And never forget, we are the proof that hope, resilience, and unity can build a better future for all Americans. A future that includes all of us, proudly, unapologetically, and not erased, but etched permanently into the tales of American history. You are seen. Thank you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Executive
Good to meet
decision.
you in person.
This has been great. Our sound system will fade into nothing but memory. And the love will not. It will remain in our hearts day after day. At least in mine. Thank you all so much for being here. And as mentioned, if anyone wants to chat later, 4 to 7, League of Our Own. And please, keep an open dialogue with us. We want more of this. We want more empowerment. And that is our mission. And I will die fighting for that. Thank you.
Go home.